I know many entrepreneurs who are struggling, and not because they're not worthy of success, they just don't know how to become successful. This might sound a bit extreme, but you have to be willing to die for what you want.
Today, we'll break down the 5 core habits that have helped millionaires and billionaires use their time wisely and achieve their success.
Many people are educated, but very few of them acquire the knowledge to become extremely successful. They become workers.
Terrence Johnson, business growth expert with over 20 years of executive experience at ABC Walt Disney Corporation and Magic Johnson Enterprises, now a rising digital leader.
But because we don't trust ourselves, we doubt ourselves, we're unsure of ourselves, we need the validation from other people. Now, I'm the virus. I come and disrupt your program. Because if the program is working, why aren't you where you want to be?
Today's episode isn't just about general advice. We're diving into actionable strategies to help you grow your business and hit your goals.
You know, everyone wants the nice house and 7 figures. Everyone wants a great marriage. There's nothing stopping you from doing what you want to do, except...
Mr. J, welcome to the Tipping Point of Success.
It's my pleasure. I'm glad to be here.
Mr. J, before we dive into the 5 core habits every entrepreneur needs to unlock their potential for business growth in 2025, let's lay out some foundations and start with tackling a big question first. You said anybody can be an entrepreneur, but to be a successful one, you got to have grit, drive, and the desire required to succeed. Where does your grit, drive, and desire come from?
Well, that comes from when I was young. I did not grow up in a very wealthy environment, if you will. I had great parents, loved them dearly. My mom and dad. My father instilled a great work ethic in me, and my mom was my mom, and she did what mothers do. But we weren't in the best financial situation, and so what motivated me, this might be somewhat of a very simple term, but it was poverty. It was just not being able to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And I would ride through certain areas, certain neighborhoods, or go to the supermarket and see that everyone did not live the way that we lived, and it lit a fire in me to figure out why. I never had a broke mentality, even though the family might have been impoverished at some time. It never got inside of me, so that's where my grit comes from. I wanted to have a good life, and I was willing to do whatever was necessary to accomplish that. What I tell my mentees is this: anyone could be an entrepreneur, but just because you want to be an entrepreneur doesn't mean you're a good businessman or a good businesswoman. I know many entrepreneurs who are struggling, and not because they're not worthy of success, they just don't know how to become successful. I have a huge following, a lot of mentees, and one of the things I like to express to them is this: the difference between believing and knowing. Many people believe that they're going to become successful. And I like to get my mentees to know that they are. Here's an example. If I were to ask you about your mom and dad or your parents, and I ask you, do you believe your mother loves you, or do you know that your mother loves you? 99.9% of the times, I know my mom loves me. When you know something, it doesn't necessarily require belief. It is more or less a statement of fact, a statement of truth. And that is the mindset that I try to shift them to knowing versus believing. But I will say this: it is believing that brings you to knowing. So I hope that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. I would want to break that down later on and see how can I develop that knowing for myself? How can I actually do that? You've been through some big transitions yourself, from high-level executive roles to building your own brand. Can you share an example of a time that you had to push through your grit, your drive, your
absolutely.
desire?
What I would say to people is the downside to success is that people see your destination and not your journey. They see where you are today, but have no idea what you actually had to go through. When I was young, I started my drone company about 9 years ago. And prior to that, when I left Disney and my executive background and started off in my own journey, I faltered badly. We wound up being filed bankruptcy. I was close to being in foreclosure with my home. I knew how to run other people's businesses, but I never ran my own. And there was a huge learning curve, if you will. It's one thing to manage others' money. It's a whole other thing for you to generate the income and manage the money yourself. So that was definitely a learning curve for me. But at the same time, it taught me a great deal of resilience. It taught me a great deal of emotional fortitude. What I would say to anyone who's listening to me, you're much stronger than you realize. And you don't know what kind of fortitude or faith you have until it's tested. And it's in those dark moments, if you will, that the iron or the diamond is forged. I really mean that. You don't learn a lot by everything being great. You don't learn a lot by, having a ton of money. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I don't want people to get the wrong impression. I enjoy being successful, but it's in the times of adversity that you find out who and what you really are. And what I had to ask myself was this: every time adversity presented itself to me, it's simply asking me one question: are you who you say you are? It's just that simple. And a lot of times when you're faced with that question, unfortunately, many of us come up short because we doubt ourselves. We don't believe in ourselves. We don't know that I'm going to be successful. And it really starts with you. There's nothing stopping any of us. If you really think it through and you peel the onion back, if you really think it through, there's nothing stopping you from doing what you want to do except your own limitations, your fear, your doubt, your indecisiveness, and those things and challenges that arise in our lives. And they're meant to come. I had to learn to accept that it's part of the journey. Everyone wants the nice house and 7 figures, if you will, and all of that. Everyone wants a great marriage, but you have to realize all these things require discipline, effort, and work. And so, I would tell everyone to be realistic with your expectations, but however, don't set limitations upon yourself.
I created the Burnout Free Business Guide to help seasoned entrepreneurs avoid what is, in my experience, the #1 business killer: owners and founders who run out of passion, energy, or focus for their business because they can't fight off the burnout any longer. My name is Ido Lederman. I'm the host of the Tipping Point of Success podcast, a former successful musician, founder of multiple pioneering businesses that have helped hundreds of entrepreneurs reach their desired version of success. I'm passionate about helping business owners like you make sure you know how to deal with burnout when it comes, so you can get out of it quickly and continue in your path of achieving your goals and vision. This free guide shares everything I've learned that you need to know. Follow the link below and I'll send the guide your way. No strings attached. What's one mindset shift that helped you move past the fear of uncertainty of scaling a business?
Most people are afraid to fail. And I failed many a times. And I remember many a nights being up, stressed out, not knowing what I'm going to do. Can I meet the payroll? All types of problems and challenges and adversity. But what I would say to you is this: embrace the fear. Don't run from it, because at the end of the day, what's really the worst that can happen to you? And so how I overcame my fear was just understanding the fact that then there's something inside of me trying to stop me from achieving my goals. And all of us experience these things. Hey, I'm sure Mike Tyson, every time he got in the ring, he would say, I was afraid, but he still fought. He still did what he needed to do. And so I don't think being afraid of the challenges that you might have to endure makes you weak. But there's a difference between the coward and the person who's fearful. The coward is afraid as well. However, the coward or the hero, in spite of his fear, does what he or she needs to do. So you just have to have a certain grit and determination that no matter what happens, I'm going to give it my all. This might sound a bit extreme, but you have to be willing to die for what you want. You have to be willing that much. A man will protect his family to the death. A woman will protect her children to the death. Why would she jump in front of a car to protect her baby? Why would a man jump in front of bullets to protect his wife? Because he loves it, and he's willing to die to protect it. So if you took that same ideology and philosophy towards your business, your life, your endeavors, are you willing to die for yourself? And unfortunately, many people are not.
I loved it. I loved it. And what I got from the first thing you said is, think that there's nothing worse than regret.
Yes.
So the worst fear that you have in a moment, regret will be worse. So persevere, push through. Don't get to that moment of regret at the end of your life. Second thing is, be inspired by the great things in your life. Learn to love what you do as much as you love your family, as much as you love your spouse, your kids, your parents, as much as they love you, and develop that sense of that grit and that drive from there. Mr. J, later we're going to dive into a topic I strongly believe in, like I told you before. First, as promised, let's break down the 5 core habits every entrepreneur needs to unlock their potential for business growth in 2025. Mr. J, I love it when you say you change your life by changing your mindset. But in my experience, that's a little easier said than done, I have to be honest. That's why today we'll break down into actionable steps that will help us build momentum in 2025. Now, the first habit that I got from your video, use your time wisely, is working smarter and not just harder, because hard work alone will
Now,
not get you the result that
hard
you
work
want.
alone will not constitute success. When you start developing routines and habits, you get up, you go to work every day, and next thing you know, 30 years has gone by. Your creative juices aren't as sharp as you were when you were in your 20s. So I think that telling people hard work constitutes success is not only untrue, it's a falsehood in itself. However, there's no substitution for effort and hard work, but hard work alone will not do that. So what must I do to get beyond that? You must match hard work, ingenuity, and creativity along with those aspects, and a little bit of luck, just to be honest
How,
with you.
how can I develop the habit of creativity into my daily routine? What do you do?
I spend a great deal of time in my imagination. Think about this. Me and you are talking to each other. I'm looking at the items in the studio. I see the nice decorations you have. You see a picture of
Thank you.
me, my wife behind me, the room that we're in. All of this did not just appear by osmosis. Someone thought it up. Someone imagined it first, and then it became reality. One of the greatest gifts we possess as human beings is we have the gift to see something in our mind's eye first. And I spend time in my imagination. How do I, in other words, people call it vision boards, visualization, if you will. Well, where's all that taking place at in your mind? Or what is in your mind with your own wonderful human imagination?
Can you please share maybe a routine that can help me incorporate visualization into my daily routine, into my daily life? Do you have a mantra that you say to yourself, or something that will spark that visualization?
Sure, you
and
want
that
to hear it? I have an
creativity?
affirmation. You want to hear it?
Sure.
Yeah, it goes like this. I am a billionaire. Money comes to me easily and effortlessly without great labor or toil. My life is simply amazing. Good fortune chases me down. I am truly the luckiest man in the world. I love money and money loves me. I have a lavish, steady, dependable income, consistent with integrity and mutual benefit. As I taught that affirmation to myself and I share it with others, as I tell, when my affirmation is not separate from who I am, my affirmation is who I am. And so what I would say to you, write down who you are. Many people just don't know who they are. They know what they are. We're so-called human beings. But who are you? And if you can do that without conforming to the norms of society, because most people just conform, you have the word conformity, and so you see the masses all doing the same thing. Then there are a few who break out of that. You might be called the black sheep or weirdo, whatever the case might be. But that individual, for whatever reason, has broken free from the matrix, if you will, and starts moving their life in that direction and start achieving those results because they break free from the mass collective of how most people think. I want you to think about this. We have so much in common. What do I mean by that? Just two things. We're both born and we're both going to die. It is inevitable. No matter how much money or success you acquire, nothing you're working for can you take with you. So then you have to ask yourself, well, then why do I want to do it? Because I believe we were all here for a reason, and all of us are here to create something to make the world a better place. Now, that might sound somewhat like a fantasy, if you will, and maybe to a degree it is, but it's just like you and I speaking. For whatever reason, be it God, the universe, whatever one chooses to label it, we find ourselves having this conversation. And you'll put it out among the airways, and hopefully it will help people. And I think ultimately that's what we're here to do. We're here to help one another. So I know that was a little sidetrack off the question itself, but I thought it was
I
just a
totally
relevant
believe
point.
that. It doesn't matter. We can sidetrack. You can sidetrack as much as you want, saying those incredible things. Mr. J, the second habit we're going to talk about is discipline. So how can I build discipline into my daily routine without feeling overwhelmed?
I credit my discipline habits from the time I served in the military, and that really taught me a lot of discipline. There were no excuses allowed, if you will. They wanted you to do something and wanted you to do it right the first time. Along with my father, he was a big fan of discipline. Now, how do I instill discipline? Listen, I'm not going to tell you it's easy. Your old nature is always going to fight the new you. The old way of doing things is always trying to fight the new way of you that's trying to be born. It doesn't want that individual to come out. So how do you do it? How do we learn anything? Through repetition. If you take a young child when it's a baby and it starts to walk, the first couple of times it gets up, it falls down. Every time it falls down. But the baby doesn't give up. It might cry when it falls. I'm using us as just an analogy. And the parents are saying, come on, come on. And the child is still stumbling. But eventually it stands and eventually it walks and it doesn't lose its balance. Then 6 months goes by, the child is running around and the parents can't keep up with it anymore. What's the point I'm trying to make? It is the same with your discipline. It's going to be a struggle in the beginning. But if you continue at it, eventually it will be second nature to you.
So are you talking about willpower? Because I'm talking about discipline to do the things that I know that I should do, but they're hard for me. There's either they scare me or they just seem like a lot of work, or it's not my comfort zone. But I know that that will take my business forward to the next level. But like you said, if I'm saying to myself, I'm not disciplined, I've already lost.
Well, let's start right there. Stop saying that to yourself. Let's just start right there. Stop speaking that what you don't desire to have happen. You see, nothing really manifests. If you look at it like this, man is the only creature on this planet that has the ability of thought and speech. We can think of something, we can speak about it within that general terms, if you will. If you keep telling yourself, I'm ugly, I don't look good, for whatever reason, you start radiating that energy and you start believing that what you're saying to yourself is almost like a mild form of hypnosis. So if you start saying, I'm not disciplined, I'm not disciplined, I'm not disciplined, remember the difference between believing and knowing? So you're believing you're not disciplined. And if you say it over and over again, you're going to really become an undisciplined individual. Now the question is,
why should I shift it to? Should I say I am disciplined?
Absolutely. What does it hurt to say it? If you start saying it enough, you're going to start to what? Believe it. And then the behavior that comes behind that. It's like telling your children, Mom, Dad, I failed at this. And the parents say, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. And eventually what happens? The child might be struggling in school, not have best grades. But then the parents say, believe in yourself. Don't doubt yourself. You can do it. And what happens? They graduate. It doesn't mean the journey along itself is smooth sailing all the time. That's where I think we're struggling at. Most people want it just to be smooth sailing all the time. That's not how it works. You need a few rough seas to not just be disciplined, but to be strong in your discipline.
Any other method to develop that discipline except sheer willpower and saying to myself and telling myself that I can do it? Being the parent of myself and telling myself that I can do it. Any other recommendation how I can develop discipline in myself, in my life?
I would start with your inner conversation, the conversation you have with yourself. Stop putting yourself, that's what I would say to most people. I don't care where you come from, what color you are, your gender. I'm not getting mixed up in none of that crap. Listen, at the end of the day, nobody wants to be poor, sick, and dead. None of us. All of us want to have a great life. Now, how do I do that? Listen, man, the first thing you got to start doing is stop doubting yourself. Stop telling yourself negative things about yourself. That inward conversation you're having with yourself will determine your outward reality.
So. Catch yourself in the act.
Absolutely.
When you're saying the negative stuff to yourself, catch yourself in the act. Stop right there. Switch that on the spot.
Let's peel the onion back. Why do I even talk badly about myself? Why? Why? Why would I do that? And that, again, something has happened for you to see yourself in a way that is not productive. You know, the first thing I tell my mentees is this: the very first thing you must do to change anything in your life, be it your business, your relationships, your health, is to get control of your mind. You got to get control of the mind, not the brain. The brain houses the mind. You never heard someone say, hey, this person's lost their brain. You say, no, this guy's lost his mind. This person's lost it. So get control of your mind, and to understand that you have to purge yourself of all the negative self-talk, all the doubt, all the innuendo that you put yourself down. And you can't blame anybody. You can't blame your parents. You can't blame your financial condition, you know, but at the end of the day, we're all given a choice. You get to choose how you perceive your life. One of the things I say in my program is this: if you change the way you see the world will change. I hope that makes sense.
It does. It does. Yeah. So one of the questions that really helps me is to ask myself, how does this thought serve me? If it doesn't serve me, I shouldn't be thinking that.
And not only that, here's the question: where do these thoughts come from? Where do these negative thoughts come from? Isn't it those? Let's think about this. This is what I ask my mentees. You could be at home and thinking about anything, and all of a sudden a negative thought will pop in your head. Where does that thought come from? I believe this. Somehow, some way, there's always something trying to stop you. I don't know what it is, but there's always this struggle for all of us. Even if you have money, even if you have great success, there's this battle going on between what one desires to have happen and what is actually transpiring. I think we have to dig a bit deeper and ask yourself, why are these thoughts coming to me? Why do I perceive myself in this manner? And then what do I need to do to get rid of them? Because if you're not wanting to be negative, why do you have these negative thoughts? And to take it a step further, to show you how important this is, how many times do you often hear it said, keep a positive attitude? Keep a positive attitude. Why are people constantly inundated with that statement? Because the natural state of a lot of people is negative.
Interesting.
And I think that's a question that should be asked of human existence, if you will.
It's amazing. We dove deep there. We have a couple of questions that will help us develop more patience within us, and that's very helpful, Mr. J. Thank you very much. The third habit is, I think you liked it. It's patience. I have to say, it's a tough one for me. It's a tough one for ambitious entrepreneurs eager to grow fast. I'm one of them, guilty as charged. I really want to grow fast. I really like it. I like everything coming fast to me.
I can help you with that.
What's one way to train myself to be more patient and still staying productive and feeling the progress?
First of all, there's only one way to learn to deal with patience. There's only one way the world itself teaches you patience. You're made to wait. But if you can look at patience for what it is, I guarantee you, I help a lot. I'm going to help you with this one.
Thank you.
If I plant an oak tree, I take a seed and I put it in the ground, cover it with dirt. This is an analogy for business. And I put water on it. The very next day when I come outside, is there a tree outside? No. I come out 3 weeks later. Is there a tree outside? Probably not. But underneath what you can't see, there's a lot of transformation going on with that seed. Eventually, the tree is going to pop out, a blade, if you will, or a branch is going to start coming up. And what I want to tell you is this. The oak tree is not concerned with how long it takes to grow, only the planter. Your business is not concerned how long it takes. You are. You're the one, you're the observer of the seed that's been planted. Now, once you plant this seed, you must give the seed time to grow. I don't know if you have children. I have a daughter and 3 grandchildren.
I do.
Okay, great.
2 boys.
2 boys, great. Oh, how old are they?
11 and 15.
Did they grow up slow or did they grow up fast, looking back on it?
Oh, man, so fast.
I rest my case. When they were babies, now they're 11 and walking and I'm sure going to school. And you're saying to yourself as their father, man, it went by so fast. Well, time is relative. Time is relative. It's not going any faster now than it was when they were first born. But your perception of it, how you perceive it, and this is what goes back to the statement, how you see the world. If you change the way you see the world will change. Now you're talking about your business. I want it to grow so fast. Well, let's look at this. Let's just take your 11-year-old. You say it went by so fast, but you want your business to grow up in 1 year.
Right.
You wanted to grow up in 1 year, but you didn't say that with your son. It took 11 years. And you just sat there and said, man, it went by so fast.
Yeah. If you ask me, I wanted to stop growing so fast so I can have more years to enjoy.
Now here's the question. Why do I perceive my children's rate of growth different than my business?
Why is that?
Because it's all the same time. But
Right.
your perception, you know why? Because you have a different connection to your children than you do to your business.
Um,
You need to love your business and give it time to grow like you loved your boys. Then you won't be in such a rush for it to grow so fast. I hope that
so
makes sense.
patience equals the amount that you love your business and the potential of your impact and your mission, everything you do.
Well,
You,
I ask you just
if you want to grow, you need to you develop the patience in order to see better results, and also it's the other way around.
well, again, let's compare your business to your children.
Yeah.
There was no plan. You just loved them. They just grew up on their own. You're the observer of them. You created them, just like you created a business.
Is there anything else that helped you develop patience in your business besides thinking about that analogy? Because it's going to help for sure.
Well,
But is
the
there
fact
anything
is,
else?
that's the only way you can, because it's the truth. There is no other
Right.
way around the truth. You stated earlier, I wish they wouldn't grow up so fast.
Right.
You see, the time is all relevant. So if I'm looking at, I think what happens to people, you'll hear one or two cases where a guy starts a business and in 6 months to 12 months to maybe 2 years, he's scaled the business, he's made so much money. And not that that doesn't happen, but it doesn't happen as often as people think. Most businesses grow over a period of time. Most wealth is accumulated over a period of time. What I would encourage you to do and continue to stay productive. When your children were growing, you were still working, you were still being productive, you were still being a father, but it didn't stop them from growing. So stay productive in your business endeavors. Do everything you can to scale your business, but also give your business time to grow.
What will happen if I don't do that? What will happen if I stay,
You'll be
if I'm
frustrated,
going to be
unhappy,
impatient?
unfulfilled, bitter, angry, all this other stuff because you're expecting something to happen that wasn't meant to happen. There's a season for everything. Everything happens for a reason. I firmly believe that. And sometimes success can be thrust upon you too quickly and destroys you. You're not ready
Thank
for it.
you.
Yeah, you're
So
not ready
again, we
for it.
have a compelling image. We have a scary image. We can use them both. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
But you might not be ready for it. I put it to you like this. A man becomes super successful. He had a young, beautiful wife when he did it. He gets millions of dollars. He divorces his wife. Now he's not growing up with his children. He pays her alimony. He's met someone. And even though he's successful, the very thing that he started off with, he doesn't have anymore. It happens all the time. Yeah. So, and I don't mean to sound oversimplified. I totally get what you're saying. I get it. Believe me, you want to scale your business. But at the same time, here you go. Your business is scaling at the rate you are improving. How about that one?
That's amazing. So I shouldn't try to rush anything because
You're absolutely right. You're a
I'm,
wise
I'm
man.
I don't I need to not try to rush because I have to be in line with my own development, with
You're a
my
wise
own
man.
evolution. Thank you. I'm inspired. I'm inspired.
But
I
I
have
tell
this.
my team this. I tell my team this. Hurry, but don't rush.
Right.
Hurry. Don't be unproductive. Don't be slowful. Don't be lazy. I
Mm.
never said that. Oh, just sit around and twiddle my thumbs. I hope. No, I'm not saying that. Hurry, but don't rush. When you rush, you make mistakes.
Habit number 4, time management.
Sure.
One of my biggest struggles and constant sources of guilt. I always wonder, am I using my time in the best way to support my business and my mission? Am I using my time wisely? So,
Right.
Mr. J, do you have any time management hack that will make a big difference, has made a big difference for you?
Well, I would say the biggest time management hack that I've learned is to do the hard things first, to where it gives you time to, not to be so pressed for time. But you got to get the hard things out the way. I think it's
Every
human
day.
nature. Say again?
Every day.
Every day. You have to do it.
So, biggest time management hack, start with the difficult things first.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's hard because we have so many things we want to do. We want to grow the business. There's so many little parts and intricate things, and we always deciding, should I do this? Should I do that? Is this more important? Is that more important? How do I know what's what tasks to choose in any given moment, how to prioritize
That's a
myself
good question.
better.
Now, I think that's a very good question. How do I prioritize? How do I know what's important? Important. This is what I would say. A little self-reflection needs to happen, and at the end of the day, where no one knows you like you, and you have to ask yourself. I think I know if we start asking ourselves certain questions, the answer always comes. We might not like the answer that's given, so you know what you need to do. And so a person might say, put things off, whatever. But how do I know? That's a very personal question because
Mm.
ultimately it's your life. And if it's you wasting your time, and then it's you who has to ask yourself those questions. As much as I'm a fan of mentoring and coaching, ultimately it comes back to the individual. They know themselves. So there's really no easy answer, at least in my opinion, for that.
So so the way is the reflection. Ask myself after each day, what have I done right? What have I done wrong? What was a good use of my time? What wasn't? And
Mhm.
learn from that, iterate from that each day,
Absolutely.
and say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And you just get better at choosing the right things to do.
I love what you're saying. Well, in business, I love what you're saying. And if you got to, I'm passionate about it because that's something I would tell my managerial teams. I say, guys, just each week, let's get a little better. Just each week, every day, just a little bit better. It all adds up over to the
Not perfect, just a
not
little bit
perfect,
better.
just a
Not
little bit
perfect.
better. And we have to look at the word perfect. Perfect simply means complete.
Hmm.
It's all it means, complete. People
Hmm.
think that perfect means I never make a mistake. That's not the definition of perfect. Perfect simply means complete. So as you're moving forward, you're becoming more and more complete in whatever it is you're trying to do.
Let's complete the 5 habits. We reached habit number 5, developing strong financial habits.
Mhm,
Finance can get messy, Mr. J,
mhm.
especially for small business. For small businesses, one of the biggest tendencies I hear from entrepreneurs is avoiding finances altogether. It feels
Mhm.
like something for CPAs or numbers people. So, how can we break the this mindset, and build a simple habit to take control of our money?
It really goes back to asking yourself, what are my financial goals, and what am I doing to achieve them? Many people waste money on things that they don't need. There's a big difference between what you want and what you need. We need food, clothing, shelter, transportation. Those are necessities. People want a mansion.
Yeah, but I'm talking about business. When I want to be to develop habits of financial management in my business, what's the first step? Let's say I have an accountant.
Like I stated earlier, just because you're an entrepreneur doesn't mean you're a great businessman or a great businesswoman. You have to understand flow through. You have to understand return on investments, EBITDA. You have to understand top line, bottom line, fixed costs, variable costs, my payroll, my labor, my taxes. You have to become these things. And I learned all these things again through trial and error, and I've done very well at it. But the fact is, these things all come from you. And if you want to stop worrying about your finances in business, it's simple. Sell, sell, sell. Sales cures everything. And now there are some times where people are not making a lot of money, even though they have a great deal of sales. I see that often, but that's just really an indication of poor managerial skills. I understand there's a learning curve over the first couple of years of flowing that money down to the bottom line. I totally get it. Your return on investment, manager operating profit. I do a lot of consultant work where guys are doing great top line. Top line is great. Bottom line is killing them. And what's killing them is their expenses.
Is there some habit I can
You
formulate
need to know
to?
where every dollar is as the CEO. You need to know where everything is. Don't even rely on your accountant. You see, one of the things I'm not a fan of is turning over your responsibilities. If you're the
Mm.
CEO, you're responsible for generating that income, period. That's your job. Now, if the business grows and you scale it up and you have a team around you, you have to take responsibility for the people that you put on your team. You have to make sure they're qualified and bona fide and they know what the hell that they're doing. Because if it don't, it will reflect that in your profit and loss statement. It's not easy to work for me. I can tell you this. No, I'm very
Why?
demanding because
Hmm.
I have very high standards. I treat
Hmm.
them very well, and my team has been with me for years, and we all get along well. But they know Mr. Johnson's expectation. He doesn't want to hear any excuses. Why hasn't it gotten done? And what are you doing about it? At the end of the day, I want the return on my investment through the salary that I give you. Period. And if you don't like it, it's no harm, no foul, just leave. But you know what, though? As they always say, Mr. Johnson, you're a great leader. I'm not a boss. I'm a leader. There's a difference.
I think nowadays people prefer that term instead of a boss. Like no one wants to be the boss. People wants to be better leaders, and it starts with being a better leader of yourself, and then you can be a better leader to people as well.
Yeah, but to get back to your question, sales cures everything. Yeah,
Sales.
sales cures that. Yeah.
So don't think about financials. Just go and sell.
If you go and sell, the financials take care of themselves.
Take care of themselves. I love it. I love it. Thank you for simplifying that, Mr. J. I love it. And as a person that really loves sales and is all about sales and is teaching sales, you're preaching to the choir.
Okay. Hey, you know what I'm saying.
Mr. J, before we move on to the next topic, I want to thank you for breaking down the 5 core habits for success in business and life. I truly hope this helps entrepreneurs stay on track, use their time more wisely, see what they need to see how they change their lives, push through challenges, create the impact that they dream. But there is another but. We can make smarter decisions. As you know, we can manage our time wisely and still feel something is missing. Even when the business is thriving, you can reach a point where you just can't keep going like this. This is what we call burnout. It's a topic that's very close to my heart. And that's why I'm so excited for this next part of our conversation, Mr. J. As someone who inspires business owners to evolve and keep up with the fast-changing tech landscape, you also emphasize the importance of spiritual growth. You even said spirituality is just as important as one's financial knowledge. We just touched upon that. So can you explain this perspective, please?
I would simply say spirituality will help you in your business be more calm, be more patient, be more understanding towards people. Because even though I'm sitting across from you in a business meeting, you have no idea whether or not I got in an argument with my wife that morning. You have no idea whether my mom's dying of cancer. You have no idea. So we lose. So hopefully it brings more of the human element back into its proper perspective with you. Because at the end of the day, the person you're trying to grow your business with is just another person.
That's right.
So, but, and to don't lose sight of those things. We're just people.
Mr. J, you often talk about aligning the mind, heart, and spirit to become a powerful being. What does it actually look like on a day-to-day basis? And how can that help me?
Good question. When you're comfortable with who you are, you don't have to wear the mask anymore. When I was young in business, I would wear this mask. I'm sitting up straight and making sure I'm enunciating my words appropriately, and blah blah. You're playing this role like a movie, like an actor, hoping to impress people that don't even know you. But you want to fit in. You want to be accepted. And one of the greatest things I learned to do when I say this, I mean it within reason, is to hell with what they think. We waste too much time worrying about the perception and thoughts of others. Who you should be concerned about is how you perceive yourself. And be genuine, authentic.
If I want to align my mind, heart, and spirit to become a powerful being, is there a practice to do that?
The practice is just to be yourself. There's no cure for you but you. Be who you are. That's my whole point. Somebody, what do you do? Well, I learned just to be who I am. Either they accept me or they don't.
What changed since you started to being who you are and you got aligned? What's the one thing that you've noticed changed in a big way?
And as you get older, at least for me, you realize, don't waste your time trying to fit in. Just don't waste your time. You're wasting your time. You're playing the game. You're doing exactly what they want you to do. You want to assimilate and to associate. And that's why so many people, when they're trying to become successful, they're miserable at it or they're unhappy because they're not being who they are. Just be yourself. When did not being who you are, when did that become good enough? When did the world say, "Hey, you're not good enough"?
So
Why?
many people walk around with that feeling. So many people. It's unbelievable. Even hugely successful people I've met that still walk around with that feeling of I'm not good enough.
It's called programming. If you will indulge me, I'll give you a real 10-second example how people, it's called the collective consciousness theory.
Please.
Finish the common phrase. Now, we just recently met. Finish the phrase. No pain.
No gain.
Stay with me. Stay with me. Anything
Sure.
in life worth having, you have to work what for it?
Hard.
How do you know that? And I know that. Because you've been programmed to.
Right.
I just want you to see. So when you say, well, what program? What if everyone's running a program? No, that's what the whole matrix was. They were running the program. And so what people are struggling with is now I'm the virus, Mr. Johnson. I come and disrupt your program. Because if the program is working, why aren't you where you want to be? So when you ask me, what thing do you do? Well, the question is not what thing do I do? The question is, what thing do you do?
To break out of that programming.
My daughter would ask me all the time years ago, Daddy, what do you think? You know what I would say to her? Whose life is it? She says, mine. So why are you asking me what I think about your life? What do you think? And see, that's what happens when you start relying on the opinions and thoughts of others. You lose the ability to think for who? Yourself.
So in the pursuit of being who you are, being aligned, being authentic is relying on you, asking yourself the question, who are you? Who do you want to be? What do you think about
you
that?
go.
How do you change your life?
There you
What
go.
is your opinion about this and this and that?
That's right. It's just that
Hallelujah.
simple. But because we don't trust ourselves, we doubt ourselves, we're unsure of ourselves, we need the validation from other people, which is very unfortunate.
It is. Mr. J, do we have time for a couple of last questions?
I'm on your time. No worries. What you got?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, as we said before, burnout is so real, even when things are going well. What's your advice for someone who feels like they've lost their spark, as we spoke in the beginning of the conversation, but still has so much that they want to do? What
Rest,
would you recommend that person to do?
rest your mind. I haven't taped in the last 3 weeks. I took a break. You know, it was another season. I told my team I'm tired. I was mentally exhausted. I was. I talk all the time. You get
Thank you
tired
for
of talking.
sharing that so openly.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a regular person. That's another thing. Regardless of my success, man, I'm just a regular man. I'm just a man. I'm very humbled by it all. I really am, and I appreciate the accolades and all of that stuff. But I'm just a man. You know, you give me a steak and a potato, I'm happy. You know, it doesn't take much to make me happy. But I was tired. I really was, and so I told my team I'm going to take a break. And they all agreed, hey, Mr. Johnson, take a few weeks off. You know, I'm actually back in the studio tomorrow. I'm back in the studio, but I've been on a break the last 2 weeks, and I needed it because I was getting burnt out. You know, I really was. And so what I would say to anyone, you know, recognize the signs. When you find yourself losing your motivation a bit, when you find yourself not being as inspired as you once were, when you find yourself struggling to find creative topics to talk about, you know, maybe it's time to step back. And I did, and I needed it. And so I went and spoiled myself, if you will, and, you know, took some time for myself. And I
And now
enjoyed it.
now that you're back, how do you feel?
I feel great. It's like this morning you asked me how I'm doing. I said, I'm doing super fantastic. I feel great. Yeah, there you go. Here's something I would suggest too, which you talk to people, because when I talk to my mentees, as particularly men, I ask them, hey man, how are you? And all the men say the same thing. Oh, I'm doing okay, or things are great, or whatever. It's okay, but I like to delve a bit deeper. I say, hey, how is your state of mind today? That's what I ask my guys.
Great question.
Yeah, how's your state of mind? Because if you ask the guy how he's doing, oh, I'm doing fine, you know. Go, I'm good, guy. No worries. I'm good, buddy. How's your state of mind? What are you thinking about? And usually when you're asking that question, there's a moment of silence because it's actually make them to start to really think about how they're actually doing.
That's a great question. I'm going to use that with all my employees. I'm going to ask them about one by one.
Yeah, ask
I
them.
think it's going to create a great connection. How's this
And
doing?
here's the thing for you. Give them time to answer.
Be patient.
Yeah, be patient. Let them answer. Because when you ask them that, first it's going to take them back. What did you just ask me? How's your state of mind today? You often, I don't know. That's a problem. Because the one thing you are in control of is your mind.
What does that create, that question? What does that create between you and the person that you asking that question?
A level of trust, a level that Mr. Johnson sees me beyond just an employee or a mentee, that he sees me. He's actually truly concerned about me because I am. You know, I'm
That's
really
a great
big on
habit.
growth.
That's a great habit to develop. And I have to
It
say,
is.
like across everything, relationships, work, friendships, everything.
You know, I can give you the secret to success if you want. You want to grow your business, I'm going to tell you a secret.
Please do.
I give you $1 million secret. When you make $1 million, you send me my cut. Listen, let me tell you a secret. You don't make your business successful. The people around you do. Invest in the people. It's the same as investing in the business. Most people want to invest in the business without investing in the people.
When did you learn that?
When I failed at business. When I failed. I was investing in the people, in the business and not the people. You know, I was in the hospitality industry and I had 500 employees, 90 servers, waiters. I never sold any food. They did. I never really managed the finances. I had my team around me. And then I rolled the information up to the board. And when I realized that it's the people that made me successful. And that's what I would tell you to do, right? You say, Mr. J, what do I do? All this other, what do I do? What do I do? Hey, start with your people. Are they good people? Are they lazy? Are they argumentative? Are they agreeable? Do they listen to you? Do they respect you? Do they trust your leadership? Do they trust your judgment? Do they come to you with their problems? And if they do, are you trying to help them or do you ridicule them?
I just love that last bit. I have to be honest. When you said all those things, I have to really confess that my answer was yes to 99% of that. I was really proud of myself in that moment when you said, "Are you doing this and this? Do they respect you?" Yes, the answer is yes. So I guess I'm doing something right. And there are things I need to improve in, of course.
So I would tell you this, if that's the case, then the only thing I could honestly say based on our brief conversation is you just need to be patient.
I get it.
I got the team. I'm in good shape. They respect me. I'm doing all those things. 99% of those things I'm doing. So then your business is growing.
Yep.
It is.
Patience.
Just be patient.
Patience, so important. Mr. J, last question is a traditional question that I always ask the guests to come here. And you know, the name of the podcast is The Tipping Point of Success. I don't want to tell you why I named that and what it means to me. I want to ask you, what does reaching the tipping point of success mean to you?
I would say this: when I became financially free, where I can do what I want to do as opposed to what I have to do. And I did what I had to do for years, 30 years, easy. But now I get to enjoy it. So I want to, who's ever listening, I want to encourage you to stay on the path. Though it might get hard and challenging at times, it might even seem dark at times. I don't have anyone to talk to. I don't know where to go. The money's low. I'm struggling in my personal relationship. Is it really worth it? Yes, it is. The journey is the greatest aspect of it. You might not feel like it at the time because it could be bad or it might be great. But once you get there, you'll realize you missed the journey. You missed the challenges of it all when you have the infrastructure and your life is in a good spot. So the tipping point of success to me was being able to do what I'm doing right now, to wake up and to talk to great people on the other side of the world and hopefully be an inspiration And
You certainly have, Mr. J. I want to thank you for all this time, for you being so gracious with it and so gracious with your wisdom and your advice. I really acknowledge it. And Sagi told me, prepare to to be surprised.
he's one of my best
And
mentees.
don't expect the unexpected. And that's exactly what happened. I was prepared, but that exceeded my expectations wildly, I have to say. I really thank you, and I'm honored that you agreed to do this interview, and I can't wait to get it out there.
What can I say this before we go? Guys, look for me
Sure.
on Instagram. I'm at the TX Johnsons. That's THE, the TX Johnson, TXJOHNSON on Instagram. Come check me out. I'm on YouTube as well, on Evolution Now, and on TikTok. I'm at Terrence.x.Johnson. Great content, great information to not just help you in your business, but in your personal life, the
Absolutely.
way you think, the way you feel. As I say with all of my mentees, I say this: your mind makes it real. You become what you think about. And wish you nothing but the success. And I see you guys at the top.
Thank you very much.
Take care,
Bye,
my
Mr.
friend.
J. I thank you so much. Hey, this is Ido Letterman. Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you're ready to take your business to the next level, don't miss out on my free Burnout Free Business Guide. It's a simple 7-day plan to help you reset your relationship with your business, improve your mindset, and achieve more while staying balanced. You can download it right now for free using the link in the description. And before you go, I've handpicked 2 more interviews that I know you'll find incredibly valuable. These videos dive even deeper into strategies that can help you reach the tipping point of your success. Just click on one of them and continue your journey to building a thriving business that you deserve. See you in the next episode.